Most usually there wasn't a lot to do, but there was some adjustment made. Then it was sent to the technical team. Technical team was pastors out in the field, college professors, seminary professors. You look at this thing. And they were really supposed to be looking at it in terms of, is the source language being dealt with well? But, you know, most of them are normal American English speakers. So when we told them, natural to you in English, and aren't clear to you in English, they did that. So then when that came back, then we had what we called the book review committee. And that wouldn't be all 5 of the translators, it wouldn't be all 3 of the reviewers. At that point, somebody like myself got a little bit involved already, but it would be a team to put that book in the best possible way we could. Then it went out to the consultative committee. That was a group of 50 people, and they were taken out of all kinds of different denominations, different points of view. And here's where we dealt with this potential, sometimes subjectivity that could come in. If someone, for instance, was a Christian that didn't believe in infant baptism, maybe he would, subconsciously, unconsciously, not intentionally, adjust the text a little bit, or another way. But when you had this group of people that came out of various denominations, good scholars, all of them recognized people, 50 of them, go through this thing, then you'd get the comments back, sometimes comments of that kind. But because the translators and the reviewers knew that was going to happen, they were not as liable to be subjective. They were objective, really, all the way along. And so then it came back from them, then it went to the, adjusted again, then it went to the final editorial committee. That was a committee that I served on much at that point. I was a consultant all the way along the way, but then I came into the thing more fully. And finally, then it was adjusted. That 5th draft, really, was then what was sent for typesetting, and that's how we get this.
What level of English did you hit at? I think, for example, the New York Times is different from the Reader's Digest, and you have literature, novels that are very elite in their language, and others who are very colloquial. And what was the language level that you aimed at in the translation?
Very important question. Brings us back again to some of the things we've talked about previously. Big difference between dynamic equivalency and closest natural equivalency is that we realize that there are 66 books in the Bible, and that not all of those books, and you'll appreciate this, Bob, because you worked with Greek, not all of those are written at the same level. You see, and if you come with what the dynamic equivalent translation principle had, and it was good, I was very much a part of it in working in Africa. That was as far as we had gone, is to say we kind of like to make this available to everybody, and it should be leveled out in such a way that the level is the same for all the books. Well, you see, that did damage to Ecclesiastes. That did damage to the Song of Solomon. Now, maybe not such a problem for Genesis or Mark, but the abstract concepts that are in Romans and Ephesians, they tended to get leveled down so that really what the Bible was trying to say didn't fully get through. So the first thing we realized is that the Bible was not intended to be at one level. So we worked to try to find the level at which that particular book was. And then we said, we want the natural, closest equivalency in that new language at that level, not at some lower level, not at some higher level. So that added another dimension of complexity.